Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. And here I'm Shantan. This is I Speak, where we are representing as your business doctors. Even though I thought I'll talk to you about something which can make a difference. For the simple reason, from last 6 months, I'm getting a lot of messages from entrepreneurs asking, ನಾನು ಆಗಲೇ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಇನ್ನೇನಾದ್ರು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದಾ? Or I'm getting a request asking that I'm interested to start a new venture. How is that you believe that the market is sustaining? ಇಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ಇನ್ನೂ ಓದ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. You believe, is this a right time for me to begin business? Or a lot of them are still asking, it's time for me to understand, is business right for me? What do you think is the right attitude to start a business? So a lot of questions were there. So I thought, why not me come live and answer these questions? And especially one of those important questions that, if I start a business, can I diversify? Or if I'm already into business, do you really think that can I diversify? So diversification is the key. In fact, take a case of Tata, take a case of ITC, take a case of Reliance. These guys are diversified in much crazier perspective. Frankly speaking, I got a question from one of them asking, look, everyone are diversified. Don't you think that it's time for me to diversify? No. Diversification ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ just starting new ventures ಅಂತ ಅಲ್ಲ. First, you should be known in the market as a brand for one product at least. And then when you're diversifying, it makes sense. For example, today a lot of startups are emerging like mushrooms, and everyone who starts a business, one question will ಬರ್ತಾರೆ, already ನನ್ನ business start ಮಾಡಿದೆ, it's almost a year or two, now I want to invest in other venture, now I want to start one more venture because it's run ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ. No, that's exactly where we are going wrong, because diversification is not about simply starting multiple business. It's about whether you have one strong business turned into a brand, made market realize about your brand, successfully running without your presence, and have a great system. ಈ 5 ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಫಾರ್ ಯು ಟು ಡೈವರ್ಸಿಫೈ ಅಂಡ್ ಗೋ ಇನ್ ಟು ದ ನ್ಯೂ ಸೆಗ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಅಂಡ್ ವೆನ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಡೈವರ್ಸಿಫೈಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ದೀಸ್ 5 ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ಡ್, that is when your business can run successfully. ಯಾಕೆ? ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ತೊಗೊಳ್ಳಿ. ನೀವು ಇವಾಗ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರೋ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್, ಇಫ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ರನ್ನಿಂಗ್ only and only because of you, how do you think you can diversify into something else? When you took an example of Reliance, when you spoke about ITC, when you spoke about Tata, these are the guys who have already made themselves into a brand. Or take a case of new age companies or companies which came out like mushrooms in last decade. For example, Ola, Oyo, Uber. Yourellaru, they are again doing multiple ventures. Is it good for them to run? Definitely yes. Why? Simple reason, because their diversification is fueled by right reasons. What are those right reasons? They're already a brand, they're known in the market, public recognizes them, their credibility is much higher, and not required for them to be in the system or in the business to run the show. Why? Because they have built a strong system which can run without them. Hagagi, when all these 5 points are there, it's time for them to diversify and they'll be able to escalate it. But the problem in today's industry is everyone wants to diversify even before you set a right tone into the market. That is precisely why I was conveying diversification ge adrade ad rule irutte. So hagidre, if you are already into business and if you want to diversify, there are certain points you need to consider. That's exactly what I thought I'll be talking to you, because I am interested to talk to those entrepreneurs or those wannabe entrepreneurs who needs to understand business is not about one-stop solution or one-stop go. One business shuru madde, I'm ending with that. Not necessary. You can always diversify. But business start ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೂ, ಅಥವಾ ನಾನು ಆಗಲೇ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಹೊಸ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ಗೆ ಡೈವರ್ಸಿಫೈ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೂ, in both the cases the following points are something which are very important. So I thought, let me throw these pointers to you and let me throw some light on those pointers for the important reason, because if you begin a business or if you start a business, most of them come empty-handed or fail in no time. Yake? Because they're unable to understand where they're going wrong. Last week Sameta, I had no less than 8 or 9 calls with startups. Basically, I don't interact with startups, but having said that, that was the time I had a chance to interact with startups, wherein each of them had a challenge of 1 to 3 years of a gap, but at 3 years only, the big mistake which they have done is making sure they cannot continue any further or unable to scale the business. Because business shuru ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ಅಥವಾ business diversify ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ always understand certain parameters has to be considered. If you fail to consider those pointers, there are all chances that you will miss out in the game. For example, first check my first point which I want to consider. If you want to start a business or diversify a business, ask yourself whether that business is in alignment with your nature, with your strength, with your thought process, with your excitement. Align agilla andre, how do you think you will be excited? For example, imagine after 10th standard you were asked the question whether you want science, commerce or arts. How did you choose? A lot of them chose with a toss of a coin. A lot of them chose asking their friends and seniors and parents, and couple of them chose without even getting a choice, and only handful of them chose with the right decision by understanding what they want. That is exactly what you need to do even when you're about to begin a business or about to diversify a business. Check whether it's in alignment with your thought process, whether your strength, whether your nature. What is that all about? Simple. Imagine if you are a person who never was excited about history, about understanding geography, about understanding how civics works, and if you are in a position to try taking arts, entire journey of 5 years of your arts study, you will only learn about those things which you are never enjoying or which you never wanted it. Then how do you think that you will be able to scale your business or understand the course? That is exactly what happens even when you are in business. Now business madabekare, that's not something which you are enjoying, and why would you even start? That is exactly what you need to do. So even before you begin a business or diversify, the first thing what you need to do is check whether it's in alignment with your thought process. If you are exciting in coding, doesn't mean it has to be turned into a business. Because last time I was conveying about it, in a video on a daily dose, where I was conveying your technical skills and your business skills are two different skills. I'll touch base about it a bit later. But having said that, you need to understand, just because you're strong technically doesn't mean that your business will scale, because technical and business skills are two different skills. Now let's come back to the point. Assume you're excited about coding. Nimage coding ಮಾಡೋದು ಇಷ್ಟ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, developing ಇಷ್ಟ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, and if you are about to start an IT based company, it means that is getting in alignment with your strength. That means you are excited and you are about to begin that. Or assume you are a person who are excited to live in forest, athwa nature, amidst nature. Athwa if you are a person who are great in having adventurous thought process, hagidre, if you are a content creator about these adventurous activity, this forest or nature or birds or wild photography, then in that case ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ನಿಮಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟ ಇರೋದು and the business what you are about to begin, it's in alignment. Then what happens, you will be able to scale it. So the first thing which you need to consider if you are about to begin a business or diversify, whether that business is in alignment with your strength. The second, which is my favorite, which I always consider, you need to consider before you diversify your business. ಏನದು, make sure ನಿಮಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಚೆಕ್ ವೆದರ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ಅ ಗ್ರೇಟರ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್. ಇಲ್ಲಾಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಯು ಮೈಟ್ ಬಿ ಎಕ್ಸೈಟೆಡ್ ಬಟ್ ಅನ್ಫಾರ್ಚುನೇಟ್ಲಿ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ರೆಡಿ ಟು ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಇಟ್. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಯು ನೀಡ್ ಟು do a thorough market analytics. For example, assume you are excited about product selling and you start selling typewriters today. Do you really think that it sells? No. ಯಾಕೆ, ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಸತ್ತೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ, ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ರೆಡಿ ಟು ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ದಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್, ಆ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಡಸಂಟ್ ಇವನ್ ವಾಂಟ್ ಯೋರ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಎನಿಮೋರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಟೈಪ್ರೈಟರ್ಸ್ ಟುಡೇ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಸ್ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಆಸ್ ವಾಟ್ Kodak did. That is exactly what Konica did. These are certain companies which were selling for those products where market was already dead, or they know market is not ready to scale up any further. Aವಾಗ ಅದನ್ನು ತಗೊಂಡೋದ್ರೆ, how do you really think it works? That is exactly what happens even when you start a business without market analytics. I'll give an example. Monday I got a call from an entrepreneur, from a friend of mine who's already working in a company, and he says that, look Shantan, I want to start a business. I was like, great, what industry are you about to begin? He told, no, I am into getting into food and beverage segment. I was like, great. So what do you understand about it? I don't understand much, but I am learning the course. I'm understanding how food system works, how nutrients works, how nutritionists work, because it will be helping in alignment. I was like, great. If you are not in alignment with your thought process or your business, you can align yourself by learning it. That's a good start. The second question which I asked him was, what is that you believe that you know on the food industry, or which segment you want to enter? He's like, I'm not sure about it. Let me enter into something and then explore. I was like, good, but do you really think that has a market? He's like, I'm not sure. I was like, okay, but if that product, did you understand what are the kind of competitors who exist in the market? He's like, no, I'm not greatly sure. I was like, okay, do you really checked about the customer psychology, their behavior, or what is that they're looking forward? He's like, I'm not sure, but food is something which is a necessity, so I think it will work. If you go on a guesswork in the industry, then trust me, the concept of sustenance will never be there. That is exactly where I'm conveying it to you. You need to make sure that you need to assess the market, get the analytics of the market, do that market research before you enter into any product. Basics of that, maybe next video I'll be conveying how you need to do market research, or what are the basic things you need to know about market research, so that new business shuru ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ easy ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. But having said that, today I'm going to convey couple of pointers on market research. Know what product you're launching, know what are the market requirements for that, know who are the competitors who are there in the industry, know what is that a customer looking forward in that product, and know what is that gap which still continues even though competitors are existing. That is when you can enter. Also know what is the price range you need to launch at. Also know what is the geography at which you are trying to launch, and also know the demographics of that product. When you know all these things, ಅಥವಾ ಈ market research ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ಮೇಲೆ, then when you are entering an industry, it makes sense. But unfortunately, that gap we are still continuing. Our gap continue ಆಗಬಾರದಂದ್ರೆ, the second point, as I told you, that after aligning yourself with your strength about the business, it's time for you to do the market research, because that market research will help you even get an understanding, get a hold of what you're trying to do it. So when you want to diversify your business or start a new business, make sure the market research is completed. The third point which I want to convey is, make sure whether the risk factors are being accounted. ಏನಕ್ಕೆ? You are not sure about anything what you are about to begin unless risk is being factored. Risk management is the key before you begin. Even if I'm trying to make sure I go eat some food, I'll check myself whether the price is suiting, whether that's a roadside food, whether that is healthy. We have 100 questions to ask ourselves. ಒಂದು ಫುಡ್ ತಿನ್ನಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ಥರ ನೋಡ್ತೀವೋ, ಒಂದು ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ that's exactly what you need to do. You need to understand whether the risk exists, if so to what extent. If you come back answering me that illa idralli risk factors say illa andre, then it's not even a business then, because every damn business which you are about to begin has a risk. But ಆ ರಿಸ್ಕ್ ಯಾವ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ತನಕ ಇದೆ, ಆ ರಿಸ್ಕ್ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ನೀವು ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡಿದಿರಾ, ಆ ರಿಸ್ಕ್ ಇದ್ರೂ ನೀವು ಯಾವ ಥರ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ನ ರನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಇಸ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಸೊ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಥರ್ಡ್ ರೀಸನ್ ವೇರ್ ಐ ವಾಂಟ್ ಯು ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಇಸ್, consider and account all formats of risk which are existing, and make sure this risk is being assessed, and then go into the market, which will help you get a hold on it. Because if risk is existing, you need to make sure you need to overcome that risk having that product. If so, you also ask a question, how are competitors dealing with it? If competitors are not getting this risk, even they'll be facing, but they went a step ahead, but not sure that every risk is being addressed. So hagagi, you need to understand that whether your product is about to chase it and being sustaining even though that risk is existing. So consider the third point. What are the risk factors which are existing in the industry, and maybe can you make sure that those risks are being assessed and considered and taken over. The fourth point you need to consider when you're about to begin a business or diversify the business is, did you do your due diligence? Did you? Why is that required? Because any business for that matter, the diligent process of understanding how it works makes sense. Illa nan agle market research madadnala. Do you really think again due diligence is required? Yes. Market research and due diligence are two different processes. In market research, you go in depth about market, competitors, customers, psychology, pricing, behavior, trends. You'll understand 18 different analytics. But when you are doing a due diligence, you're going deep down about a particular product, about a particular company, because due diligence helps you to get a hold about whether this product can sustain. Whether if I enter, this is a right industry, right product, right way, right approach. That is exactly why you need to do due diligence before entering into the segment. In this process of due diligence, you will learn whether this sustenance process of a product, what you are planning, can be for long run. Because any product for that matter is not short lived. You are expecting in next 5 years how the industry is about to emerge. In that case, the due diligence process required. Or if you believe that illa nane start madbekana intention la, can I take over a company? Definitely yes. Either you can take over a company, acquire a company, merge with a company, or have a conglomerate, understanding with a company. In that way, you'll be still running the show, you'll be still able to sustain that particular aspect. That's precisely how it works. So make sure that your due diligence process is completed, because due diligence is one thing which is something which excites you to know the insights about the company. The fifth area which you are supposed to again consider is, can you allocate the resources required? Most of them do this mistake that business shuru madana, ಆಮೇಲಿಂದ ನೋಡೋಣ if at all I can allocate the funds, if I have funds, if I can really make it on a long run. No, that's exactly the mistake which we generally do it. First, make sure that you allocate not a necessity funds, not the savings, but make sure that you either take a loan or park some amount of it exclusively to run the business, because this can either run, scale, or fail. You don't know where it works or what happens. When you are not aware or unaware about the presence and how it works, then it is time for you to understand that let's drop it, or let's consider that not to take it further. Illa ನೀವು ಹಾಕಿರೋ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಅಷ್ಟರ ತನಕ you can still create a stop loss. ಅಂದ್ರೆ if at all you have a 10 lakh as a budget, until it touches 10 lakhs, you need to assess and make sure that you will be able to scale it or run the show. Even after that, if it is not having, you should always have a stop loss. Let me not have a stop loss, let me continuously do it, have persistence about. No, you should always understand business also runs like market, share market only. When you enter without understanding, that is when you create a stop loss. When you know about it, you will remove that stop loss. Even if it is going down, you know in future it comes up. So unless and until you have a great understanding about business on scaling, you always create a stop loss. If you are unable to scale, if you are failing, drop that and continue. But if you know that how it works, remove the stop loss, pump money further, and you will be able to take it. But unfortunately, some problem ಏನಂದ್ರೆ, when you are allocating resource, we always believe we know everything. We always believe that we are aware about everything. We always believe that we are expert in everything. That's exactly the area where we make a mistake. It is time, when you are allocating resource, it is your duty to make sure that you have limited, expert panel which is being created on a limited basis initially itself. It might be when you are unaware about finance, make sure you have a virtual CFO who will be able to help you from the finance angle. Or when you are unaware about the system, make sure you have a consultant who will be able to design about the way business is running, about the specific industry. Make sure you tie up with the respective person. He'll be able to give a guidance on that. Today you have consultant for every damn product which you are about to begin. You want to begin produce a soap or a confectionery or a bakery or coding. You think about an industry, there are freelancers as a consultant who will be ready to help you. Go up on LinkedIn or go up on any of the freelancing portals like Upwork or Fiverr. You will be able to get people who will be able to consult you about that product or business. Take their consulting and then proceed. So in this way, you will be able to allocate resources for the product, for the service, for the consultancy, and then you decide whether you need to begin. If so, if you are still considering it to be beginning, then it is time where you need to take it up. The sixth point, which is my favorite again, is focus on branding it and marketing it. Because any product which you are about to begin, because once you consider that yes, this is something which I have decided, I got a consulting and my product is ready or service is ready, now I'm about to launch, it's time you focus on branding. Because branding is not something like one shot go. Today's branding is all about a visiting card or a logo or a website. That's not branding. that is about to begin the process. Branding is something which happens on a continuous basis. It's a long shot, as in every now and then you will be making sure that your brand is being aware. For a short time, if people forget about your brand, that is all because you were not in market, you're not in connect, you didn't create the. Even if Bipasha Basu doesn't have movies for 3 years or 5 years, leave about 3 years or 5 months to 10 months, we'll forget Bipasha also. Why? Because we will forget the tendency of having a connect when we are not in touch with it. So that is exactly why I call it as branding is a long-term activity. You need to continuously create it. Right from the logo, what you do it, every now and then you should be in connect with the market for one or the other reason. In fact, a lot of them use branding both ways. One is positive, other one is negative. Positively, they'll be connected. On a negative basis, they'll still make sure that they're up in the market. How can negative marketing be a good branding? It can, for all good reasons, because branding speaks stating that can a customer remember you for good reason or bad reason? Can they keep remembering you? Is branding. But marketing speaks about, can the marketing be on the right side? Can the marketing be on the right way? Can the marketing be on a specific task to make sure people realize only about the good aspect? But the way it works is, irrespective of it, people recognize, remember, and reward you when they are able to recall about you and your product. That's precisely why branding and marketing is required, especially whenever you're about to begin a new product or diversify into it. The seventh area which I would like to convey to you that is your flexibility of understanding. Because how flexible are you with the new product which you're about to launch? How flexible are you to adopt whenever there is a new requirement coming from, or when a customer gives a feedback to you, are you ready to change? Or when there is a feedback from your colleagues, friends, are you ready to change? Or when you believe that it is time for you to change, are you ready to tweak the existing product and make that difference? If you are unable to do it, or if you are not doing it, then over a period of time you'll realize that that will take out of the shelf and you'll not be able to sustain for longer term. So that's precisely, you need to understand that when you are starting or diversifying your product, it is always important that you will be flexible enough to tweak it. Because the first version of iPhone and the 13th, 14th, 15th version, whatever we are holding today, if you look at it, there is way difference in it. But the first version when they launched, they were equally excited and equally it was good. But today when you look back at it, you will feel that that's seriously, people were excited for Apple iPhone first version. We will ask that question because we have advanced. But for you to advance yourself, Apple took two important steps. Number one, always take risk and start. Number two, keep tweaking and be flexible enough to change it. When your business process is ready to get adopted, be flexible and do the tweaking as and when required. That is exactly when you will be able to escalate yourself. The same customer who was shouting, scolding, and conveying it as worthless products, today they continue using it because they realize that this is getting changed or tweaked. They take a solid case of Flipkart. When internet was too expensive, people really wondered, will this work? Or take a case of Paytm, when it came in an era when actually internet was so expensive. So people really thought that, does this really even work? But today, people are hell-bent on using any of the apps to make sure every other process is simplified. Why? Because they started realizing whenever they started giving feedback, company took that feedback, tweaked, adjusted, made it flexible enough to change all those things, whichever is creating a chaos to consumer. And after changing, again they launched a newer version. And every new version when they came, consumers started to accept it. And slowly they realized that this is a way, and now they're so dependent. Even though they don't want something, it is not required because consumers have given their feedback and that has been accepted by company and scaled into multi-front today. So that is exactly what is required in business, about being flexible and handling in a right way. So think about it and how you need to make it, and that's exactly where it will start changing. And the last area which I believe that it is important for you to consider for for us to enter the market and try diversifying ourselves is one area, that is, if all this product and service has been thought, it has been aligning your process, you did that market research, you realize it is important, and now it's about to launch. And once you launch, once you get the feedback, you'll tweak. And once you tweak, it is most important that can you scale? Because sustenance process will only help you to understand you'll be meeting the break even, but scaling that process requires a new skill. It requires a new attention. It requires a new thought process. And for those industry who started this business upfront as a first one, you'll be able to scale it much stronger. But those business who are already doing something, and this was a diversified product, it was a new product which you entered, then in that case, the process of scaling is must. Now, when you are thinking about scaling, there are multiple fronts where you can scale your business, understand about that business and take it ahead. But for all these steps, what you are about to take it is mandate that you realize that you are still surviving and not scaling, because those business who doesn't understand the difference between surviving and scaling will keep continuing, because India majority of the business are still MSME, which is small and medium sized companies, which are bleeding with losses, or they're able to make pie month on month and they're able to survive. How long do you really think that your survival business can sustain? How long do you really think that even if you keep surviving, you'll be able to escalate business? No, it is not. Then in that case, you need to understand that somewhere, some process has to be known for you to escalate and scale it. So my next video is all about how you can scale your business, because today I thought I'll give some hints and importance about how you need to start or diversify your business, but my next video will be considering on escalation of it. So that escalation will help you to take it forward, take you ahead, and that escalation will also give some importance about how to take things on a right manner to shoot up your business. So with this, I would like to convey and conclude one important thing, that I would be happy to take up all the questions or queries. I'll be able to also DM you or either DM me asking about any queries. I'll be able to answer that and make sure that your queries are being addressed. With this, I would like to conclude this session. This is Shantan representing iSpeak as your business doctor. Thank you. Let me know if you have any questions on the comments. I'll be looking forward for the same. Thank you.